What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Daily Refinement, your favorite ASMR reselling channel. Just kidding, guys. This is not an ASMR channel. This is a show dedicated to selling stuff online. And today I want to talk about me hanging out with the shipping team last night during the monthly eBay meeting in San Jose. Shout out to Alan and Sherry for hosting that event. I know it's a lot of work to get 40 of us or so every month together to talk about all things eBay. So 4 eBay employees showed up. Incredible, to talk about eBay shipping and to take some feedback and give us a few updates. The number one most important thing on my mind is, when is eBay going to offer Cubic shipping so I do not have to use a third party? And it was presented that they are now allowed to. Their agreement with the post office and Pitney Bowes does allow them to offer Cubic shipping. They just currently do not offer it. And there are 3 major reasons that pop up when people ask about why the changes haven't been made. And the first is that they're old and the system is complex. The second is that it's hard. And then the third is that they are every vertical, meaning they can't just do what Poshmark did and offer Posh Post, all items under 5 pounds in any box shipped for $6.49. And clearly, Poshmark has a deal with the post office that's around an average of 1 pound. It's mainly clothing, so obviously they're able to leverage a very, very competitive industry-leading standard of $6.79. But Mercari, now just had an increase to $11 for a 3-pound package for priority. So that must mean their average package is about 2 pounds. So you can kind of guess what the rate ends up being. But that's not really an excuse for Cubic shipping, which is probably the number one most requested thing for eBay, because at the 0.3 cubic shipping dimension, that is a 12 by 15 Tyvek envelope from the post office. That's free, and you can fit a ton of stuff in that. And this is what it looks like. So that envelope, if you use Cubic shipping, which is 0.3 cubic feet, ships around the country for under $9. That's like $4 to $7 cheaper than using eBay's regular internal system. And that's something available to any seller of any size. So it's not some special proprietary rate. They did mention in an eBay expression survey, and also last night, would you guys use a multi-carrier discount like a FedEx, UPS, any carrier label for around $15 or a certain rate? And the answer for me is no. I would just use whatever is the market competitive rate. If the post office is cheaper, I want to save the money for my customer and give them a better deal. I don't need easy. I just want competitive, right? Easy is not what anybody wants. We just want to compete with the other websites. Prime is a good example of this. It's about 2 days. Does sometimes it take longer? Yes. Does sometimes it arrive the next day? Definitely. I think everyone's had the experience where they ordered something Prime and it came the next day. So Prime is incredible, and they also are not renewing their contracts with the post office in a lot of different areas. One of my friends, we'll call her Emily because she doesn't want to give out her real name, works for the post office in San Jose, and for them, their contract with Amazon is not being renewed. They just were using the post office until they were able to build their own shipping system. So again, incredible. Amazon is actually part of the fulfillment process, and I bet that's pretty hard too. So one analogy that I want to bring up real quick is banking. I use Chase Bank, and the app is incredible. Okay, like, I bet managing millions of people's finances and their bill pay and their credit cards and their home loans and all the other things that they use with their bank account, I bet that's really hard, right? I bet it's very complex. And they are not a tech company. And they have one of the easiest to use apps ever. And I've never had it screw up. And I don't hear about that online ever. I never hear that the site doesn't complete simple transactions. Now, I've heard of it being hacked, but every single website is being hacked for personal information. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ease of using the actual device. Chase is also way older than eBay. eBay is not an old company for the Fortune 500. It's very, very, very new. and it's very hands off. It doesn't handle any products. It's only a technology company. All it is connecting us sellers to buyers. So it's just hard to get sympathy from sellers when you say that it's hard, you're in more than one vertical, and it's complicated, because every single thing online dealing with finances is complicated. So it's just hard to pull the sympathy card there. We don't buy it. Okay, the next thing is we want some kind of designation. So eBay sellers are hardcore. They love eBay. They will go to the moon and back to prove stuff like, I am a silver power seller, which has no bearing to the customer. The end user doesn't know what power seller is. They don't know what top rated seller is. All they care about is, can you get me what I want quickly? So why don't we make some badges that actually make sense to the customer, like average ship time. So this person ships on an average of 1.3 days from when you place the order. That is not going to mess with the existing code. They can just add that to the profile page or on the listing, so people would know, oh wow, this seller ships in about 1.3 days, and it's a person. That is totally exceptional and great. And if the lower your ship time was actually gave you a bump in the Cassini rank, then people would be going to the post office 5 times a day. There are sellers that sell 3 things. They would go to the post office after all 3 things just to get their ship rate like 0.1. So then it'd be like, wow, a buyer sitting home might be like, you know what? I'm going to give this little guy a shot because they ship in under 1 day. That's pretty amazing. And are they going to be upset? No, if they just put an average of 0.9 days, that's going to give the customer confidence to buy something from this person, especially on eBay where it's more of a community type feel anyway. This badge would be super cool. Also a reliability badge like Mercari that would give buyers a more of a sense than 100% feedback, because most 100% feedback sellers, with the exception of a few, are usually selling less than 3,000 to 5,000 items per month, right? There are some exceptions like Greg Morris Cards. That store does like 20,000 transactions every week with 100% feedback. They should have a badge that tells people how incredible that is, right? Instead of the feedback score, which is kind of antiquated. It's very, very old. They should try to come up with a new system, because that system doesn't really give you a good idea of if this seller is really exceptional. In fact, let's say you sell 500 positive transaction and 1 negative. People only remember the 1 negative, and they may not trust the seller for no reason because they have a 99.999% reliability rating, but one person didn't like it, or maybe they truly screwed up, and now that it totally affects your seller performance and your ability to sell something because of that tarnished record. So I think that system needs to be updated. You need to get some badges so people will work hard to improve the system. And finally, the most important one, in my opinion, is a end of the day scan form. That would be huge. There's a lot of sellers that print their labels one by one, or if you are using the bulk shipper, it caps out at 50 items. You cannot combine multiple scan forms into one. So you look like a moron waiting in line at the post office, getting every single item scanned, if you want to let your customer know that it's literally in possession at the post office. You could do what I do and just leave it there, or have the post office guy come up, or post office worker come to your house and pick it up, but you're risking that they won't scan it until the next day. So that's another gripe that people have, is we're getting penalized if we set up on our profile that we have same day shipping and it gets scanned at 2:00 in the morning. We get dinged even though the item will arrive within the estimated time. So very frustrating. We're trying to make it easy, and like the guaranteed shipping program doesn't make sense as a buyer because it's always different. Of course, it does mean like it's guaranteed by this specific date, but it varies by seller. Somebody could have a longer shipping time and still qualify for that program, and it's a little bit confusing to the final end customer. So please, eBay, work a little bit harder. It's very hard for us to have sympathy for you since you're a tech company, and there are other companies like banks that have incredible accuracy and cleanness on their websites, and they're not tech companies, and they're way older and potentially way more complex. So for what it's worth, thanks guys for listening. If you do like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.